Well, that overwhelming mountain of work that I started chipping away at a couple weeks ago completely reset itself as I moved everything back out. These hives have gotten the opportunity to fly for 2-3 days, just absolutely fantastic. And they have settled nicely back into their hives now. We are on the edge of a massive winter storm straight from Colorado. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to kind of lie. Western Canada, southeastern Saskatchewan looks like they're getting a pile of snow out of this, and freezing rain as it comes more our way. But looks like we're just going to be skirting this system. But all the same, snow kind of rules the day. It whips the workload and kind of motivates me to get going already. I could have probably started moving bees yesterday. The forecast was for, what was it, 18 here yesterday, but it only climbed up to about 12 because of, I think that system just shifted over a little bit and provided some cloud and cool weather. So the bees weren't flying yesterday. But I got other things done on the farm. So this morning, I'm looking at the forecast and we are creeping back down into cold, which means I have to start chipping away at this mountain of work again. I think today I'm going to sort the nukes back into their place. The nukes are the most awkward to transport and stack in the shed. It takes more time. So I think today I'll just kind of focus on the nukes. And then tomorrow, and then every day after, I'll be just bringing two, maybe, because everything's together here. I should be able to get 3 truckloads into that shed every day. So it won't take me very long. One thing about this colder weather, it's so much more familiar. That warmth was quite the treat, and we took advantage of it by allowing these bees to take that last cleansing flight before our long winter. So I'm not complaining about that warmth at all. It felt extremely weird, unnatural. It didn't feel right. You know, this time of year we're usually drifting in between those cold fronts and warm fronts and kind of unpredictable weather. And I guess that truly was unpredictable. We were 20 degrees and full flight. It was really eerie. It was like those bees were flying first thing in the spring after we put them out. They took flight. They were in the air. It's kind of that awe-inspiring feeling. And maybe some of that translated to the videos here with my little bit of excitement. But it felt weird. But now that the cold has resumed, and you know, that comforting, this is hoarfrost here, but that comfort, we had a little bit of snow this morning. Something's comfortable with the very act of natural, predictive nature, right? And I'm assuming these bees felt much the same way too. The problem with having unordinary conditions fall upon them is, sometimes that reflects into the colonies as, they kind of confuses things. When we're dealing with animals back in the farm, we have all these swings in temperatures. It just gets systems off balance. We're transferring a few hives through that warmth. I had Carrie busy just targeting some of the poorer boxes within the apiary and switching them over. And she is seeing patches of capped brood within the colonies, but she is also seeing the establishment of younger brood being developed. And that might have been a direct result from that warmth, that tremendous flight. And, I did provide a bit of syrup for them. They were scavenging around sawdust and, cattle feed and all this kind of stuff. So they were bringing in just scraps of protein. Maybe it set them off balance a little bit too. Who knows? That'll be reflective as the winter goes on. So we'll just have to see how all that shakes out. But for the most part, other than the increased consumption of food and maybe just that little bit of a off-balance nature to that weather, I take that warmth with stride. I was able to capitalize on it. These bees had a good poop. They're ready for winter. When I was moving the bees earlier, after they've been confined for all of October, they're a little bit restless. Lift them onto the truck and they were stirred up. They couldn't fly because it's so cold. Put them into the shed and they're just, But now I'm lifting these colonies on and they're in cluster. They don't give a damn I'm even doing this. They just move them onto the truck and they hold that cluster because they're content. And that is exactly what I want. I want these colonies in the shed content for the first half of winter, just to help endure that second half of winter to get them through. So mark that up as a positive. So that's a start. Got the 5s in. Got tied up with other things today, so I didn't get as much work done as I wanted. But I got these girls in, the awkward ones. So tomorrow morning I'm going to work on the 6s, get them in, then I'll start on the single hives. And maybe I'll focus on the yards that I haven't gotten to yet, because those ones will be into the ground a little bit more than the ones that I moved back out. The ones I moved back out are on top of dry ground and they won't freeze as easy. So if we get some cold nights this next week, I won't have to do too much prying to get the hives off the ground. So anyway, take 2.